Greetings, Explorer families. This is Dr. Ike, the Executive Director of our Westlake Charter School.
And I'm Jessica Gallenbohr, your K-8 principal.
And I'm Lila McIver, your principal at Westlake Charter High School.
And I'm Felix Flores, your Wave president.
And we're your Westlake Weekly podcast team, where we typically riff through the Westlake Weekly newsletter, but we are on to a new format. We are doing our Westlake Weekly podcast, but it's our monthly podcast, and I want to just kind of remind everybody of our our schedule for the monthly pod. We're going to do a celebration, so I'd love to hear from each of you what you're celebrating. We're coming into the month of November. We'll talk core value awards, so you have an opportunity to reflect on the core value of the month, which is responsibility. Let's see. We're going to do a little piece on the celebrating 20 years of joyful learning. So that's part of the monthly podcast, and then we'll talk big upcoming events, what's happening here at Westlake Charter School in the next 30 days. And then, of course, we'll wrap it up with our WAVE president, Felix Flores, who will help us understand how can we get involved with WAVE and with Westlake in the upcoming month. Okay, so that's how we roll. Who wants the first celebration? There's a lot. What has happened in the last 30 days you want to celebrate for the next 30 days? What's good out there? Who's got the first one?
Pick me.
Pick me, McIver. What do you got, man?
I am celebrating where we are at this moment with athletics. So we are just finishing up our girls volleyball, our boys soccer, and our cross country season. And I am so proud of these teams. I might get a little verklempt here. You know, it's been a big season. It's our first time with seniors. And so we did our first ever senior nights for our seniors who are playing on these teams. But also a very successful season for all of these teams. We are heading on to postseason with with all three sports, which is so exciting. And I have just got to give a little plug for our cross country team. They have just blown up this year. We have over 30 runners, and I'm telling you, if you are a high schooler, do not sleep on the cross country team. They have the best vibes, the most encouraging, incredible coaches with Coach Schoenberg and Coach Lennon. So proud of the athletics season.
Yeah, right. So cross country is the biggest. There's so many runners in cross country. So great vibes there. Boys soccer for the first time in school history makes playoffs. Let's go. Girls volleyball are dominating and crushing. And then esports is also like on fire a little bit right now, right?
Well, I love it. You know, we're saying we're ending this season and we're about to jump into winter, right? Here comes basketball. Here comes esports. We're gearing up tonight for our big esports information session. We've got two teams running. We're about to launch. I mean, it's like we finish up one season and right into the next season, and it's really exciting. Yeah,
basketball practice is happening. Esports is trying out. It's good. Who's got the next celebration? Gallenbohr, can I ping you? I'm going to save the best for last. I think Felix wants that. I think he's in the Dew Fall Festival. I don't know, but we'll see. Jess Gallenbohr, what do you got?
Yeah, so recently we've had two really big weeks on our campuses. So we had the Start with Hello, or our anti-bullying week. Our counselors have done a phenomenal job with lessons and going into classrooms and talking about the importance of just starting with hello and making sure that all of us are seen and valued and heard. And so we had a wonderful kind of mix it up days to get the kids talking to one another that maybe hadn't interacted with each other and kind of learning about different people's stories. And then last week we had Red Ribbon Week. And, of course, our doors are decorated and we've got cute themes and all of that. But behind all of that, inside the advisory classes and the morning meetings, were wonderful lessons prepared for like how our kids can make healthy choices and good decisions for themselves as they move forward in positive, healthy lifestyles. So it was also a spirit week. And so it was just lots of stuff happening on campus. And I'm going to save the last celebration probably for Felix, who wants to talk a little bit about Fall Festival.
Yeah, I love it. Just to double down on the Web Ribbon Week. On Red Ribbon Week, both campuses, obviously, but at the decorated doors at the K-8, what was your, Gallenbohr, what was your favorite door, man? You got a favorite door out there?
So I have to say that Miss Lee was talking about her door, and so great. Did you see it, John?
Totally, because you walk by it and there's so all across the K-8, there's decorated doors. So one's a cute little Lego door and it says something like, build a better life and don't do drugs. You're like, great theme. And, there's little cartoon ones. You get to 8th grade, and there's a door filled with chicken nuggets. Big, like, and they're big. They're cut up like this big, like chicken. And you're like, what? And as you walk up, you're like, are those chicken nuggets? And it says, don't do drugs, eat some nugs. Or something like that. And you're like, it was so ridiculous that I think I burst out in laughter when I saw Lee's door. Love it.
It was at dinner last night. It was also my husband's favorite door. He was like, I love that chicken nugget door.
Don't do drugs. Eat some nugs. That was great. I also, Galmore, and I know you and your team, the counselors, everybody made this happen. But I really applauded the effort that went into the classroom advisory conversations especially in the middle school classrooms where we're it's cute, it's Red Ribbon Week, it's Spirit Week, we're talking about Red Ribbon, but legit conversations happening. I've heard tell of Mr. Henderson's opportunity to talk to his class very candidly about vaping. He put up on the screen what do you notice about these vape pens? And the kids were like, "What? Why do they look like candy? Why?" He's like, "Why do you think they look like candy?" And you could see the 7th grade wheels turn and be like, oh my gosh, they are marketing to us. And you're like, exactly. So I just thought that was well done on Henderson and the whole team for really saying to middle schoolers, hey man, big topic, it matters. I love it.
Yeah,
it's good stuff. Hey, I'm trying to celebrate the high school and the K-8 at the same time. And I guess the celebration is our phenomenal high school students and the way they invest into our K-8 at times in different ways, right? I mean, I think Felix will talk about some of our high school students participating at the Fall Festival and being super helpful. But I got to tell you, we had this awesome middle school rally on Friday. And Everest the Explorer was at the rally. And I don't know who, Everest is not a costumed character. There's not a person inside there. But if there was a person in there, and if that person was a high school student, Everest was awesome at the rally. They were doing this balloon popping contest, and out comes Everest. And the place just went nuts. And Everest was so great and so appropriate and so participating, but knew when not to participate because it was really not Everest's show. But Everest saw that this one game was kind of going along and then kind of got involved, and it just blew the roof off the joint. I thought, man, that is such a cool collaboration between our whole K-12 continuum. Everyone gets to participate, and I'm just always so proud of our high school students for any time they get to demonstrate that they are really good citizens. And one last shout out to our high school students. We have officially started accepting colleges, and we last week we have a student who signed on the dotted line and is accepted at Boise State in Idaho. So hey, here come the college. What do you call them? Acceptance letters.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, so good.
It was her number one school too.
It was her number one pick.
Exciting. That was
yeah. Right. It's like, hey, you're gonna wait for the other letters to come in. Nope, this was my number one. I'm signed on the dotted line. So yeah, good on her. Super proud of her and her family. All right. Let's bring it home. Felix, what are you celebrating, man?
I think y'all loaded me up for this one. There's no choice. Guess I'm not going to talk about my shoe collection today.
Right.
We got Fall Festival. Yes. Fall Festival. Amazing. It was an amazing event. Truth be told, it was my first time both being at Fall Festival. I've always been at board meetings from the nonprofit that I run in the past. And the first time leading one. So a lot to learn, but it was great. We're still counting the cash and the PayPal and everything else that we have set up and the silent auction. I think we raised probably close to $13,000 at Fall Festival this year. 8,000 of it was at silent auction. The mobile bidding seems to be a hit this year. We'll work out some of the transactional kinks that happen at the end for a couple of folks, but overall, we had folks that were in Reno bidding and grandparents across the country that were they got their registration in, timed her, and was ready to go. There was a little bit of that eBay excitement at 5:30 where it was you just got outbid.
That's cool.
I don't have hard data on this, but we're budgeting for about 300 families to show up based on kind of past expectations at Fall Festival. I don't have the clicker. I wish I did, but I would say we probably had close to 700 families on campus this year, which means that, we're going to get more volunteers to help those lines out for next time. So appreciate everyone that was patient for whatever game, food, or thing that they wanted. But it just showed that the community has really stepped up, and people, both in the volunteer side, but Westlake families wanting to be together at Fall Festival. It was made. If I can, I just want to give a quick shout out to the Fall Festival Planning Committee.
Yeah, let's go.
Amy Edwards, Brittany Greenwood, Christina Kimball, Gloria Russlander, Monica Sandoval, Whitney Browning. They brought their enthusiasm, their passion, their experience all into this festival to make it happen. Each one of them kind of led an area of the Fall Festival to kind of execute. It really did speak to kind of the spirit of families coming together to make an impact on the school. We all slept pretty well, on Saturday night after executing, but it was great just to see the kids' smiles, parents interacting with other parents, checking in. It was just smiles all around. I'm going to save my kind of high school.
Let's go for it. I was like, hey, tell me about that.
Shout out for the core value conversation.
Okay, I love it. I love it.
But if anyone had any other observations on your sides to celebrate Fall Festival, please do.
Yeah, and I'll let you save your high school celebration, but I will just say the inclusion of how do we get middle schoolers and high schoolers, to want to be part of Fall Festival. I thought you guys knocked it out of the park. Shout out to Ikley for putting on the esports tournament in the gym, the cafeteria, and it was off the hook. I mean, 30 kids involved, rocking some esports simultaneously. You got high school kids in costume in the haunted house, rocking at that feature. Just well done. How do you take a K-8 school and expand it to K-12? Well, you got to get innovative on ways to make us all feel like we want to be at things like the Fall Festival. So good on you. I thought it was great. Anybody else got a shout out for Fall Festival? You guys? Crickets.
Shout out to Miss Block, who stepped in big time in those last week to help us out. And facilities for everyone there. Yeah. It was amazing. Yes, the staff was greatly supportive on. Y'all had your presence and had smiles for everyone too. So just good. Make sure that they got some love as well.
Love it.
Can I tell you, Felix, my favorite thing about the Fall Fest is the thing that isn't the thing that we plan, but it's the thing that we love so much at Westlake. And it is just being there and seeing so many friends and neighbors and people from our Westlake community. That is what the Fall Fest is about. It's you turn around and here goes my kid's running off with her best friend and I'm checking in with their parents. And it's just that. And it's not necessarily the game booths and the baskets, which is what we all come together. But I walked away just being oh my gosh, I just saw so many people that are part of the Westlake community that I love so much and got to check in and say hi and spend some time with them. So it was great, Felix.
So good. Well, hey, I'm going to use the Fall Festival as the launch pad for the next part of the show. We're going to be doing our Let's Celebrate 20 Years of Joyful Learning. We are in our 20th year as a school. We are celebrating 20 years of joyful learning. Obviously, joyful learning is one of our core values that we'll talk about later on this year. But, during the Fall Festival, we brought back some of our founders. We said, hey, there's 130 founding families, people who came in and did 40 hours of work, whether that was yard work, legal work, advertising work, 40 hours of work before the school ever opened. Before the charter was ever approved, these people volunteered their times so they could be founding families of this place. And so we printed out a cool little plaque. We mounted that plaque out by the second grade garden. You can see in the second grade garden, we put out a bunch of flowers. It looks beautiful right now. We put that plaque out there to honor some of our founding families. And then we invited them to come out to the Fall Festival. And we had a whole gaggle of founding families who helped found this joint 20 years ago. Some of them started over 20 years ago because they were leading up to this event. Before we opened, and so they got a chance to share some stories and talk to one another and be celebrated. And their names are all on the plaque out there by the second grade garden. So I'm gonna cut away from this pod to hear what they have to say about their reflections on what does it mean to be celebrating 20 years of joyful learning here at Westlake Charter School.
Hi, my name is Lisa Kaur.
Hi, I'm John Kaur.
We are parents to both Jessica Kaur and Ryan Kaur. Jessica Kaur was in the first founding class of Westlake Charter School as a kindergartner. And Ryan was, I guess, 2 years later. Right? Because, yeah. 2 years later, and he finished through 8th grade here, which was the last year that Westlake offered at that time. And Jess, I think, went through 5th grade. Is that right?
Yeah, so she transferred, right?
Yeah. So we were part of the founding group. One of the great things in my life is that I have been. That is my job, is to create charter schools. I'm an attorney, and I represent charter schools throughout the state. And so when I heard that there was a few folks that were interested in creating a charter school, I said absolutely. But I also very selfishly said, well, my daughter is about to be in kindergarten, and we were told that there was not enough room for her kindergarten class, that it would be meeting in a gym. And I said, so if we are going to do this, we are going to need to do it and also get it off the ground like this year. Meaning that my daughter would have a place for kindergarten. And I knew that was super selfish. And I also knew, because of my work throughout the state, that it was A, near impossible, and B, likely to fail, because you need to give yourself more of a ramp. But we basically had the dream group. We had teachers and community members and business leaders and experts and folks who are willing to donate their time and their money to make it a success in such a short period of time, that we were just incredibly lucky. And the school did open that year in time for my daughter and others to start, all through kindergarten through 2nd grade. And what an amazing journey. And we're just sitting here wowed by the campus right now.
Yeah, it's amazing to see the progression of the school throughout all the years. It's just been fantastic.
And especially through high school. I mean, how amazing to be able to bring joyful learning to folks, not just through 8th grade, but all the way through to their high school graduation. Is just fantastic. I'm trying to think of a favorite joyful learning memory. And I was drawn to be thinking about the science fairs, because I really enjoyed going to those, and the geography bee. I loved all of those. But honestly, for me, the most amazing time every year was the International Festival, and being able to share our culture with other families, but also to learn about the cultures of everybody here in Natomas. We have the most diverse community, I think, in the country. I might be overstating that, but to be able to learn about everybody's culture is probably my most joyful learning experience.
I think I would echo that. It's been fantastic memories today, and we're glad we could be here for the celebration. And I think we'll leave it at that. Let the other people talk.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And we're back. I love that so much, cutting away and hearing some of those words just bring a little warmness to my heart. I love us celebrating 20 years of joyful learning, and I love hearing how other people remember this place. Before I was here. So such good stuff. Hey, team, let's try to weave two topics together: 20 years of joyful learning and our monthly core value, which is the core value of responsibility. Does anybody have you know what makes this place joyful for me? It's this aspect of responsibility. Or have you seen something around Westlake Charter School in the last 30 days? You're like, man, that really encapsulates joyful learning and responsibility. You got something you want to shout out? Felix, you had said you had maybe something.
I'll go first.
Yeah, take it away.
And this is a very recent example too. So with core responsibility, there's that attribute of positive decision making. Basically, finding value in both completing your work and making sure you do it to the best of your ability. And this major props goes out to the high school students that volunteered at Fall Festival. So real talk, during the 5 o'clock hour shift, we were a little thin with some volunteers, and we were doing last calls trying to get some folks in there. And these high school students just said, you know what, I'm here for that 4 p.m. shift. I'm doing what I need to do. I see a line of hungry parents, smiling kids who want to do the games. And they were like, I'm here. I'm sticking through this. I am going to make sure everyone's taken care of. And it just warmed my heart to know that is the type of young people and leaders that we have in our community who see a situation and says, you know what, I'm not going to wait for someone else to solve it. It's not my problem.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to take the responsibility and figure out how I can be a part of the solution here. You know, we thank them with tickets and popcorn or whatever we could give them at the end. You know, but it was just so heartwarming that to know that there was this value of ours in the school being thought of and implemented. And, you know, and I can't necessarily say that was a thing that came to mind, like, you know, I'm gonna practice core values today, but that's instilled in how their spirit is for the work. Yeah. And, you know, they impacted others. Yeah, I'm just sending out immense gratitude to the high school students who really stepped up and represented this value.
You know, I don't think any of the students walking around thinking they're going to demonstrate a core value, but I tell you, when we send our students off on field lessons, when we go to museums, when we go to places, we hear back all the time from people out there in the world who say, hey, your kids are different, and here's why. And when they describe our kids, I reflect on the core values, because our kids they demonstrate responsibility and respect and excellence and joyful learning and gratitude and global stewardship, the whole deal. Hey, Galbo,
I was going to say, I don't think too many high school students listen to the weekly or podcast, but if the parents are listening and you know your kid did, please give them a high five for me.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, we might have some high school listeners. You never know. Galbo, you got one for me?
Yeah, for responsibility, we have our upcoming parent-teacher conferences at the K-8. I know the high school's already done their first session, but something that I just love about, especially what our middle school students do and many of our upper grades classrooms do, is student-led conferences where students are putting together their slides, kind of talking about each area of their learning and where their strengths are, areas of growth, what they know that they've been working on, and like pictures of the work that they've been doing so that they can kind of lead the conference and lead about their own learning. Yeah. And one special thing that I thought was really cool is we have our web teachers, our web leaders, who are Miss Ho, Mr. Power, Miss Wells, and Miss Krivoy. And they are sending in our 8th grade web students to 6th grade advisory classes to help those students make really wonderful presentations. And so I just thought that was so cool, and it exhibits responsibility, right? It's like our 8th grade students going, oh, our 6th grade students may be doing the student-led conference thing for the first time in middle school. How can we support them in making it the best? And so I just wanted to give a shout out to our web teachers who are leading that charge, and all the middle schoolers who are doing that student-led conferencing.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. McCaffrey, you got one? You want to rock a little responsibility?
I am going to celebrate the entire class of 2025 for this Core Value Award. You mentioned earlier that we have a student who, got her acceptance back to Boise State, but these students are taking their application process so seriously, and they're just so thoughtful about it also. We have applications being submitted, and it was funny, I was looking at my phone because I was like, I have to show you this because here is the moment. I love that I'm doing. This is our counselor, Miss Daoud, and one of our seniors, Jalen. And this is Jalen submitting his CSU applications. It was just a moment I walked by, and he was so happy, and he was like hitting the button, and it was like, oh my gosh, like the joy that is coming through this process, also about dreaming of what's next for these students and what they're going to take from what they've learned here at Westlake into the world is just fills my heart with so much joy and pride in them.
Yeah, I love it. I when Jalen clicked submit, I wrote a letter for on his behalf for that application. And I don't know, I wasn't applying for college, but there was a little part of me that felt so much pride, so much love for that young man. I mean, he's been here since kindergarten. I think kid's been here for a long, long time.
And he is incredible.
He's amazing.
This child will change the world.
Absolutely.
They're ready.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to see what he does. And I feel that way about all of these students.
Yeah. It's funny because I hadn't been to as many boys soccer games as I wished I had attended, and I got to go to one 2 weeks ago, and we were 0-0 until the last. It was about 2 minutes left in the game, and Jalen kicked what turned out to be the game-winning goal. And I was like, it was like as if it was my own child. I'm like, oh my God, it was so great. So yeah, man, so much love for our students. So great. I guess, just reflecting on 20 years of joyful learning and this idea of responsibility, finding value in completing your work to the best of your ability. There is something about those founding families. Here are these people, and I can name a bunch of them, who are still kind of involved in this school today, all these years later, and they don't even have children here. And yet they still continue to take some ownership and some value over the trajectory of this institution and organization. Lisa Core, who, was a founding family member, helped write our charter. Her children attended this school. She was at Fall Festival this weekend, and she said, hey, are you guys doing International Festival this year? Because I'm going to bake my cookies again. I'm like, you don't have to anymore. But you can, and you do, and you love, and it's like taking that, finding value in doing something well. And here are these family members still investing in Westlake Charter School, and we're still wanting it to mean something. Still wanting Westlake to mean something special in our community. So I just love it, man. I think people who take responsibility for this joint, I am so grateful for the people who pour into Westlake Charter School, because it certainly means something to me and my family. So yeah, I love it. I love it. It's 20 years of joyful learning. It's the core value of responsibility. Let's do what we do and do some upcoming dates. We're hitting the lightning round. If you're listening in the car, pull over, because boy, there's a lot coming at you. Here it comes. We'll start with Sunday, November 3rd is the time change. We're falling back, so turn back your clock.
And then Monday, November 4th starts our canned food drive launch.
And then on Thursday, November 7th at 8:30 a.m., there will be an in-person counselor family workshop at the K-8 campus.
And then Friday, November 8th, we got K-8 Spirit Day. It's Mix and Match Day.
I love it. And on Monday, November 11th is Veterans Day. No school.
And then November 18th through the 22nd, we have our K-8 Parent-Teacher Conference Week.
And November 25th through 29th will be Thanksgiving break. There will be no school that week.
I love it. I love it. I love Thanksgiving because I feel like that's when all the college students come home, and I have a college student, so I'm like, yes, I love Thanksgiving. My question each month at this point is, hey, of these big upcoming events, which one are you looking forward to and why? Sorry, I took Thanksgiving because I want my son Johnny to come over for Thanksgiving break because I miss him. He's doing so great at Cal State Monterey Bay, but I'm looking forward to that. McIver, which of these big events that that we just rattled off are you looking forward to the most, and why?
I am looking forward to K-8 Conference Week. I am an administrator. I'm also a parent, so I get to sit in the room with my explorers over at the K-8 campus and their incredible teachers and have them reflect on their learning. And I just always feel so proud of them.
Yeah, I love it. Felix, how about you? What are you looking forward to, man?
The canned food drive.
Yeah.
I think it's a great time to kind of even talk to your kids about why you're donating and giving it out in the spirit of helping others. And so I take it as a good learning lesson and a way to see our community come together.
I love it. We need canned food for lots of reasons because we're obviously donating to families who need it. However, at the chili cook-off on December 4th, we're actually using the canned food before we donate it to make a construction. We have a family member who is an architect. He's designing a canned food construction. One of our high school students construct something really awesome. You have to come to the chili cook-off to see what that is, though. Gallimore, what are you looking forward to on the list here?
I'm actually looking forward to the counseling family workshops that are coming. We have both one in person on November 7th in the morning, and then we have one virtually for the evening to offer on November 13th as well.
Yeah.
And so those opportunities for families to connect with our counseling team, they do an incredible job of putting together resources. And it's good to have families coming back on campus and talking about how can we best support kind of the role from home to school and connecting those important things for our children. So they did a great job last year, and I'm looking forward to attending those events.
Yeah, anytime you can book to be around the counseling team, man, you're just going to make your life better.
Yeah.
Those are really good people right there. I love it. I love it. All right. It's the best part of the show. It used to be the Wave Weekly. Now it's like, hey, how do we get involved with Wave? Felix, what's going down, man? What are some ways that our families can get involved with Wave in the upcoming 30 days?
Yeah. So we start off the school year hitting families up. Like, there's a million ways for you to get involved with the Olympic Triathlon Fall Festival. November actually is a little bit of a relief of like, all right, there's no big event that's happening. We do want to invite everybody to our November 21st General Mixer that will be at the K8 campus at the library, where it's a chance for both to get a download of what's going on with WAVE, but also for parents and community to kind of come together. Usually we do little activities and social mixers to get everyone set up. I would say the other thing that we're looking for is just continue to stay engaged with your class ambassadors. Our class ambassadors have done amazing jobs this year, not only just with silent auction and fall festival, but just creating two-way communication between the classroom and the parents. And so we're just, hey, if you want to know how you can get more involved, like talk to your classroom ambassador, figure out what's happening in the classroom. They're the ones that actually got the heartbeat pulse of what's going on in that classroom and what we could do to support. And then lastly, I'm on a personal drive to get our volunteer-based makeup to look like our student makeup. And so I'm looking to find out who are the volunteers that are out there that haven't necessarily participated before, don't know what's going on with WAVE. And so I'm trying to do a listening tour. Literally been asking folks, taking them out to lunch, doing virtual coffees, figuring out like, hey, what interests you? What do you want to get involved with? Maybe someone wants to fundraise a mascot costume for Everest later. Like, if there's ideas out there, I want to soak them in the months of November and December so we can start planning and putting things together for our budget. And then elections are over in the spring, so we'll start setting up the next year with a lot of success. And then International Festival.
Let's go.
It seems like it's far away, but it's not. So we are in the early stages of actually starting to get together what the kind of architecture of that event's going to look like, what small changes we were thinking about making, and just getting the committee together so they have a few months of runway around that.
I love it. Hey, if you are listening to this podcast and you're this deep into the show, if you've been looking at our faces on the YouTubes or just, ear hustling us on the drive through, through one of your podcast players, look, if you're this deep into the show, you're who we're talking about. If you're not already volunteering, let's get you on point so you can connect with Felix and, help make this place, what it eventually can even become even better. So, volunteerism is what makes this whole place tick. That's what makes Westlake different, is the fact that you literally log thousands and thousands of hours of volunteerism. Every time you step on campus as a parent, you make your child's experience better. It's research proven, it's evidence-based, it's real. So get involved. If you're listening to us, get involved here at Westlake Charter School, and working with Felix or having a virtual coffee with him is one great way to get that started. All right, families, we appreciate you you're plugging in, tuning in for our monthly podcast. We hope you're picking up what we're laying down. If you want to be on the show, reach out to us, because hey, the more the merrier. We love your ideas, and we'd love to have your voice and your face join us on this show. All right. Hey, thanks for listening. And as always, let's explore.